10 years ago, the world became a shadow world that killed the majority of the world's inhabitants. To save the world, 150 million mages entered the Shadow Labyrinth to clear it, but only 6 remained. The remaining mages finally defeat the dungeon boss Boromir Napolitan. After the battle, the dragon's heart suddenly explodes that destroys the world and kills the remaining mages with a massive burst of mana. One of the last 6, Desir Arman, finds himself returning 13 years into the past, right before the Hebrion Academy entrance ceremony. Brigitte, a professor at the school, explains the entrance exam and its objective: to clear a pseudo-shadow world. In the school's courtyard, Desir is approached by his mentor, the second-year student Ladoria Dorish, who brings him to the test area. Desir explains that Hebrion Academy discriminates by putting all nobles in the Alpha class and commoners in the Beta class regardless of ability. After passing by Elheim Trikinci, a second-year Alpha student who Ladoria despises, and being ridiculed by him, Desir arrives at the test area where he meets Romantica Eru, a comrade who died in the previous timeline. Before the test, Desir is introduced to Azest Kingscrown, who delivered the final strike on Napolitan in the previous timeline by her mentor Elheim. The test begins as Desir, Romantica, Azest, and 3 other applicants enter an artificial shadow world in which the objective is to be one of the first 3 to cross the goal using any means necessary. The test begins with Azest running towards the goal, while Desir and Romantica team up to take out one of the other 3 applicants after the applicant nearly hits Romantica with his attack, with Azest taking out the other 2. Romantica then engages in a battle with Desir. Despite powerful wind spells, Desir counters it with inverse spells. Desir then casts a fireball spell on himself to catapult him to Azest's location. Desir uses inverse spells again to defeat Azest and cross the goal first. Azest then crosses second, while Romantica crosses the goal to finish third and pass the test. The Academy faculty and staff assemble to discuss placement, and despite their stance on relegating all commoners to the Beta class, Brigitte recommends Desir to be in the Alpha class. The results are released, and Romantica is surprised to find herself in the Beta class. After her first day in class, Romantica is invited by the Alpha class student, Donata Hadun, to join his party, but hesitates when Donata requires her to go on a date. Afterwards, Desir approaches Romantica with a request to join his party and leaves her with a letter to read in private. Later in the day, Desir watches another Beta class student, Pram, another comrade Desir fought with, have a sparring match with the Alpha student Percival Asengwitz. Pram, known for his fast strikes with the sword, he uses a heavy sword and loses. Afterwards, Desir and Romantica talk in private regarding the letter, and Desir reveals that the administration is aware that Romantica's parents bought the nobility title from a merchant, hence her placement in the Beta class. With Desir having formed a party with Pram and Romantica determined to be in the same party as Pram, Romantica joins Desir's party. Desir, Romantica, and Pram meet with Brigitte to officially form a party with Brigitte as its advisor. Desir explains his plan to get promoted to Alpha by placing in the top 9 of the ranking tournament, which has never been accomplished by a Beta student. Brigitte approves the party, hoping to reform the Academy's discriminatory system. Afterwards, Desir cleans up the rat-infested training room assigned to the party. Romantica begins her training by improving her magic accuracy, while Desir tells Pram that there is nothing he can teach him, knowing that getting him to wield a rapier instead of a heavy sword is the key. Pram shows Desir a rapier his father passed to him, then explains his background, having been born to a noble father and a commoner mother. Wanting to impress his father that he never knew, Pram trained with the rapier, but his mother passed away, and with her last words, told Pram to stay away from his father. 3 days later, Romantica improves her magical accuracy, while Pram sold his rapier out of disgust for his father. Pram brings Desir to the shop he sold his rapier to buy it back, paying 40 silver coins for it after Pram sold it for 3 silver coins, as Pram sold it as a sword, but Desir bought it as a special kind of sword called a kemuvin. With Desir using his magic to figure out how to unsheath it, He gives it to Pram to unsheath it, learning that the sword is made of blancium, a rare metal that is powerful and lightweight. Despite already agreeing to sell the sword, the shop owner demands Pram return the rapier. As such, Pram fights the shop's bodyguard in a duel. Pram is knocked around as his moves were easy to read, but is able to quickly react and use his speed to knock the bodyguard out. Meanwhile, Romantica completes the training exercise. She has dinner with Donata and rejects his offer to join, telling him that she was once a commoner. She leaves with a warning for Donata not to look down on commoners, and Donata reacts angrily as it is revealed that his father was executed in a rebellion organized by commoners. Desir's party makes the final round of the ranking tournament in dominating fashion. Outraged by the party's success, Professor Fergman calls Blue Moon, the top-ranked party at Hebrion, led by Azest and advised by Fergman, in for a meeting, instructing them to use any means necessary to eliminate them. After the meeting, fellow party members Donata and Percival approach Azest, demanding that they be given permission to defeat Romantica and Pram, respectively. Azest agrees with the condition that she defeats Desir. In preparation for the final round, Desir's party studies shadow worlds at the school's library, and Azest approaches Desir to declare war. Desir reveals that he engaged in combat with Azest at the entrance ceremony to motivate her to get as strong as possible. The day of the final round arrives with the parties battling each other to clear the artificial shadow world. The final round begins with Desir fighting a female ice mage. Despite her impressive ability to cast 2 spells at once, Desir exposes her inability to control her magic and uses an inversion spell to defeat her with her own magic. Romantica and Pram meet up and with their teamwork take out 2 participants. Afterwards, Desir finds Romantica and Pram, and the party is together again. With 18 participants remaining, the party plots their course of action as Desir decides that their chances of getting promoted are better if they are among the last 9 remaining rather than to clear the shadow world. The previous clock tower rings that summons magical beasts into the shadow world, triggering a survival quest. The remaining participants are attacked by a pack of Kildra mice. Desir's party runs away, and needing to defeat only the leader that Desir draws it out with his blood. Romantica attacks it with her magic, but fails to kill it due to its high magic resistance. Pram goes into the pack to defeat the leader and succeeds after an exhausting battle to clear the survival quest. The party rests while Desir recomposes himself after Pram went against his orders to retreat. The other parties clear their survival quests, with a member of Blue Moon being the only casualty. The parties head to the previous clock tower, where a battle royale awaits. Romantica eliminates 2 members of Blue Moon and Pine Tree, each with a sneak attack from the clock tower, leaving just 13 participants left. The Blue Moon, Red Dragon, and Pine Tree parties meet up at the clock tower entrance and begin fighting each other. Having figured out that Desir had set a trap for the 3 parties to eliminate each other to get to the top 9, Azest immobilizes the opponents from the 2 parties without eliminating them, forcing Desir's party to have to defeat Blue Moon in order to get promoted. The parties have their promised one-on-one battles as Desir fights Azest, Romantica fights Donata, and Pram fights Percival. Romantica uses a fog spell, but Donata disperses it with his artifact. Donata becomes enraged when Romantica tells him that they are alike despite their status. Donata overwhelms Romantica with his artifact, and Pram covers for Romantica as Donata tells Percival to stay out of the fight. Pram and Romantica decide that they will take on this battle with Donata and Percival together. Meanwhile, Desir and Azest fight in the floor above. Frustrated by her inability to beat Desir, Azest unleashes her ultimate spell, Frozen Throne. But Desir inverses her magic circles, prompting Azest to use her magic sword instead. Meanwhile, Donata and Percival attack Romantica and Pram with a pincer attack, but Romantica defeats both of them with her wind magic. As Azest attacks Desir with her magic sword, Desir uses inversion on the clock tower to sever its magical power and clear the shadow world to win the tournament. Afterwards, Fergman throws a tantrum in front of the professors and baselessly accuses Brigitte of cheating. The next day, Desir explains his strategy to Azest, in that while she correctly figured out that he had set up a trap for the Alpha students to eliminate each other, it also bought him time to analyze the clock tower's spell, as he could not do so with several opponents present. Brigitte celebrates the party's promotion with an exclusive cake in her office. Brigitte reflects on how strong Desir has gotten as it is revealed that she taught Desir how to use magic. Meanwhile, a rebel group in the Shadow Labyrinth prepares to strike. During the school break, Desir's party goes shopping at a mall for a day of fun. Desir runs into Azest at the mall, and the four play a game of air hockey. Azest's competitiveness takes over, leading her to use her ice magic that Desir inverses. The next day, the new term begins with Desir's party starting their first day in Alpha class with their usual morning practice, with Azest joining them. Following the lecture taught by Prelude, Desir approaches her with a request for the party to be dispatched to the Hureli branch of the magical tower to guard the Terre of Regernel, knowing that in 10 hours, a rebel group called the Outers will come to steal it. After initially refusing, Prelude agrees to the request. Meanwhile, at the magical tower headquarters, Zod Exarian, the inventor of the technology to use magic gems, receives the request and is surprised to see that Desir's party is being sent to the Hureli branch. A poor person carrying a bag of bread bumps into Kraken, the leader of the Outers in Hureli, and Kraken spoils the bread after warning him to be careful going out at night. Kraken leads the army of Outers to the gate, where they breach it with a combined magic and sword attack, knowing that the barrier can only withstand one of the attacks at a time. They are greeted by an army of soldiers, and after seeing that they are wearing strong armor, they sneak into the room where the Terre of Regernel is located. Kraken uses his earth magic to disable the security, but he and his henchmen are met by Pram and Romantica. They take out most of Kraken's henchmen, but Kraken escapes with the Terre. Kraken is met by Desir, who posed as that poor person, as by touching Kraken, he is able to track his mana. Desir and Kraken engage in battle. Kraken launches a barrage of attacks, only for Desir to inverse all of them. Desir pins Kraken down with gravity control to take back the Terre. Kraken counters by transforming into a magical beast and initially overwhelms Desir, but Desir inverses the magical beast spell as he just needed time to analyze it. Desir defeats Kraken with a fireball spell powered by the Terre. The next day, Desir meets Zod and has a chess match as his reward for defending the Terre. During the match, Desir and Zod make a wager with Desir, showing his ability to power magical stones. Meanwhile, at Fergman's villa, Azest tells Fergman that she is leaving Blue Moon. Sometime later back at school, Desir tells Romantica and Pram that in 13 days, a shadow world will appear, and he trained them hard to prepare for it. Romantica asks Desir about his secret of being a returner, but just as Desir was about to answer, Romantica stops him and decides she wants to find out herself. Afterwards, Azest joins Desir's party, and the four train hard for the upcoming Shadow World. 13 days later, the Shadow World appears, and Desir's party is deployed.